Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I have another card in my Christmas in July series. This is a one-layer card featuring stamps from Lawn Fawn. So here is the card. I'm so excited to show it to you. It's actually using the very first stamp set I ever owned. So really excited to show you guys this one. So let's get into it. So I'm going to start out by showing you the supplies. Here is the stamp set. It is Lawn Fawn Deck the Halls. I bought this many years ago when I made my first Christmas cards. I'm using Gina K inks. That's Fresh Asparagus, Christmas Pine, and Red Velvet. Those are my favorite Christmassy colors. This is Lawn Fawn Gold Sparkle Twine. I forget what they call it. Lawn trimmings. Some Versamark ink, because we're going to do some heat embossing. So I've got my Wow Gold embossing powder. It's rich pale gold. And some anti-static powder tool from EK Success. I've got a stamp block. That's Simon Says Stamp. I've got a couple little tools. My tea ruler, my scissors. Those are Tim Holtz. My Tim Holtz craft pick. And a tonic shimmer pen. And then I have my card base, which is Lawn Fawn Vanilla Malt, which I've really been loving lately. So those are all of my supplies. So now let's get into making the card. So the only tools that I did not show really was a pencil, because to make this wreath card, first I'm going to find like the center of the card. Even though the wreath is going to get positioned in like the upper half of the card so that the sentiment has a place to be. I'd like to find the center. So this is just some Tonic Nouveau mousse. You can use any round item. You could use the bottom of a glass. You could use something that's in your craft room like I did. And then just kind of base it. That's how big your wreath is going to be. So I wanted a really big wreath on my card because I really did want it to take center stage, as it's the only thing on my card. This is a one-layer card, so I'm stamping it directly onto the card base. So here I am taking the stamp set. There's so many images that you can use to make a wreath. There's a couple different pine leaf images, some acorns, some berries. There's a lot of different things that you can do and use to make a wreath. So I am just going around this circle, leaving some gaps for the other color so I can go in with my darker green and have a little bit of dimension. And all of my little pine branches are all going the same direction around the wreath to make it look continuous. So I'm just going around making sure that I don't have little ink splotches or inky fingers, because this is my card base and I've only got one shot. So if I mess up, I've got to start all over. So just going around, simple stamping and placing down those branches in the fresh asparagus color. So now you can see my wreath looks pretty sparse, and I'm just cleaning off that image. That wreath looks kind of sparse, but I'm going to fill it in with more images. So now that I've used that fresh asparagus color, I'm going to go in with Christmas Pine and using another branch image. This is a different size than the first image is. So it's a little bit smaller. There's one this is the smallest. That one I used at first was the medium size, and then there's one much larger branch that I did not use for this card. So just going around, and now I've really filled it in, and you can see the dimension that using two colors of green gives you. So now I'm going to go in with that Red Velvet ink and add a couple of berries just around wherever I kind of saw that there was a little bit of a gap. I just stuck those little berries in, and it makes the wreath look really festive. So now I'm taking my sentiment, same from that set, and the sentiment says Deck the Halls, and adding some anti-static powder tool to the bottom just to make sure that my embossing powder doesn't stick anywhere I don't want it to. And I'm going to stamp that sentiment in Versamark ink. So just kind of using my grid mat here to line it up so that I get a straight sentiment. You could also use your T ruler to do this as well. Or if you have a stamp, like a stamping tool, like a Misty or a stamp platform, you could use that as well just to make sure it's straight. I was going for something quick and easy. This card took me only 20 minutes to make start to finish. So now I'm going to heat set that powder with my Hero Arts heat gun, and the card is nearly complete. I just wanted to have a bow at the top of this card, so I went ahead and punched 2 little punches through with my craft pick, trying to make sure that that's going to be centered at the top of that wreath. And I add 2 holes so that I can string the Lawn Fawn trimmings through. And I really like that one. It's kind of like a natural color with some gold. So I'm just popping the end through to the back. So you can see, because it's a 1-layer card, you are going to be able to see the twine on the back when you open up the card. That does not bother me. And I don't think it's going to bother anybody's recipient, because I think that the more homemade your card looks on some level, the more somebody appreciates it because they know it's homemade. I think sometimes we strive for these perfect cards and then people don't even realize that they're homemade. So I am just messing with that bow, getting it to be the way that I like it, and then going in with my shimmer pen and adding just shimmer on top of the berries wherever they are. And that will complete the card for today. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope that you enjoyed watching me make this card. Please subscribe to see more of my Christmas in July videos, and watch the other video on the screen if you haven't already. Thank you so much.